Hello everyone and welcome to this video on how to install kubectl, kubelogin, and K9s on Linux. First thing, we're going to need a browser and our terminal, and we're going to log in to nrp.ai. So nrp.ai is NRP's website. You can log in here from the corner. If you're logged in, it'll show you your gravatar here. And after we're logged in, we're going to visit docs, which is where documentation is. Then hit get access. The first part here is how to be part of a namespace and access Kubernetes, which you should already have done before being able to follow this guide. This guide assumes already have a namespace you can use Kubernetes with. And now we're going to set up kubectl. So first thing, I'm going to visit the install link here. Takes me to the Kubernetes docs on how to install kubectl. Installing kubectl on Linux. Now, you can follow these steps with install kubectl binary with curl on Linux, and this works across distros step by step. And you can also install, I like to use brew because brew is also used to install to follow the next steps. So I'm going to show you how to install it with brew. You can either follow the steps here or install it with brew, like how I'm going to do it. So you can see install using other package manager. And so I'm going to click on that. Then we have Snap. We're not going to use that. We're going to use Homebrew. So Homebrew, to install Homebrew, to be able to follow these, you can go to Homebrew's website, which is brew.sh. Because as soon as I visit the home page, you can see it shows me this command, which is the only command I need to install Homebrew. So I'm just going to click the button here that copies it, go to my terminal, brand new terminal, paste it, and run it. Now, it's prompting me for my sudo password for my Ubuntu user. This is on my OS. This is not a password from NRP. And after you type it and hit enter, it's going to show you the directories that are going to be created. Press return or enter to install. Now it's installing. We're going to give it a minute. Now it shows me next steps. Run these commands in your terminal to add Homebrew to your path, which means to add it to the path where system looks so it can show up as a binary. So I copy them and I paste them. And after that, it is in my path. I can run brew dash dash help and it'll show me brew related help. That means it is running brew. Now I can go back to the Kubernetes docs and you can see it's one command, brew install kubectl. That's all we need. Copy and paste. And you can see we can test it, as the page says, with kubectl version dash dash client. That's it. That's all we need. And this is the client version. Has nothing to do with our cluster version. We don't have to match them. Next up is installing kubelogin. There's the link here and there's the button here. Both take me to the same spot, which is the official kubelogin repo that shows me the steps on how to install, which are here. See, set up, install the latest from Homebrew, Crew, Chocolatey, or GitHub releases. So the reason I installed Brew because it's a single line, very easy setup. Once you have Brew, it's very easy to install kubelogin. So copy and paste. That's all we need. And you can see after it's installed, we can follow the rest of the steps. So we go back to our documentation. Step 1 and 2 are done. The other steps are for other environments or headless environments. Now, step 3 is getting my config file. See, once I hit download, it downloads my config file. And I'm going to save it in my downloads as config. And now I want to move it to the directory where Kubernetes can see it, which is the rest of step 3. So you can see it says is save it in your $ all caps home / dot cube. So $ all caps home, if I go to that directory, it's my home directory. It's the same thing as saying tilde /. And if I want to move my config file, for me, it's in my downloads, it's called config. I'm going to move it to my tilde / dot cube and make sure I call it config and not something else. And first thing, also make sure you have the .cube directory so it doesn't complain. Now you can see here, it showed me an error because I don't have the directory /home /ubuntu.cube. This is my username here. So it's the same thing as tilde / dot cube. So I created it. This is the command to make a directory. -b tells it to make the new directory. If it's not already there, if it's already there, you're all set. Then we move the file inside it, and now we can run the rest of the commands. Now, kubectl config get contexts. This should list the context in my kubeconfig file. So it should show me the Nautilus cluster, which it does. Now, if you have multiple clusters, you can run this command to set Nautilus as the default. And now the moment of truth is running step number 5, which is kubectl or kubectl get nodes, which are nodes as servers in Kubernetes terms. To be able to go through with this, it needs to authenticate me. That's where kubelogin comes in. So as soon as I type this in, it should open my browser to authenticate me. And that's what's happening here. And I can type in UCSD, for example. I'm going to use my credentials. And type in my password. Let's check on my password to actually. All right, here we go. Just making sure we log in correctly. And log in. Now use your own respective campus single sign-on and the account you use for logging into the cluster. All cluster services use Authentic, so they all have the same login mechanism. And once I'm logged in, you'll see this will redirect me, authenticated. I can close this window. That means it went through that. You can go back to your terminal. It did show me the nodes. So the command went through. It's listing the nodes. Then we're all set. Now, next step is kubectl get pods. You can see here, I'm listing the pods. I did not specify a namespace. So it takes me to the default namespace. And this is something users run into all the time, where if you don't specify a namespace, it assumes you're talking about default, and then you try to create a pod, it tells you you can't create a pod in the default namespace. So it's always easier to run this extra step here in number 7, which allows me to set my default namespace. And I can run kubectl get pods, and everything is happy. Now, to show you how to install K9s, scroll down, K9s, this is their website. You can see here installation. Also, see brew install and give it a minute. Again, if it prompts you for a password, it's asking about your local computer's password, not anything from NRP. NRP does not use passwords for services. And like now can run K9s. and give it a minute. You can see I have a whole different command line interface that allows me to interact with Kubernetes. And this concludes our video. Thank you very much.